All right. Welcome everybody to Let's Talk Java. I am your host, the Power Lady, Laarni Mulvey, and I have a special guest today. He's actually my therapist and my friend. And I have Luke Greenwell, Dr. Luke. You guys have seen me post some of the stuff that I have done in my own personal rehab with my groinish issue. I wanted to add him on to Let's Talk Java because he has a very, for me as an athletic trainer and being in a normal clinic and everything, he has a very cool, and I feel like it's a unique way he sets up his business, which I didn't know about. And so I'm like really interested about it just because it's really cool. And I like the service that he provides. So I wanted to bring him on to support him, but also just to have a great conversation. Like we had great conversations while we were, he's like, come on, Laarni, you could do it. I was like, oh God, I can't. But first things first, I always ask my guests, what's in your cup today?
All right. Well, what's in my cup is different than what is on the cup. Don't tell Fuerza, but actually Fuerza coffee is some of the best coffee that I enjoy. But in my cup is a light roast from Stumptown Roasters out in Portland, Oregon. It's a great little. They have some really great brews. But I'm a light roast guy. I'm a drip pour over type of guy. So I got my Chemex going every morning, and that's really my routine. I do enjoy coffee, so that gets me going.
Yes, me too. So today in my ginormous, look how big this cup is. Look how big this mug is.
It is about as big as your head.
I know. I've started to enjoy like big coffee mugs. I don't know what it is. Like I have a little well, first of all, I mean, it is my Hello Kitty mug. I have a little Hello Kitty mug, but I've been keep pouring. But now I have this big, ginormous Hello Kitty mug.
Beautiful.
And I have Habit Coffee in here. They are from Missouri, but they are supported by, Matt and Vincent, who is a Highlands game competitor, a strongman competitor.
Cool.
And oh my God, it was like one of the first coffees I've ever reviewed when this show was more like coffee reviewing.
Yeah.
It was the first, maybe like the third coffee that I reviewed. And I was like, this is amazing.
Wow.
So it's been a while. So I actually ordered it and I treated myself to a bag of coffee. Now I only have this much coffee to grind and brew in the morning, but I have to like look up at this, was it Stumptown?
Yeah. They're kind of, I kind of see them pop up a little bit in some of the stores around here. So that's kind of
cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Fuerza is something you have to order online.
Yes.
Yeah, they're part of they're a podcast partner. So I should promote them a little bit.
I'll put all their information in the show notes and stuff. So
they have a really cool, I wish I had one. They have these single serve pour overs, and I don't know if you've ever seen them, but it sits like a little nest over the top of the mug.
Really?
So you could go up to the water fountain with the hot water and just pour it right over it. And it's a single serve pour over. Really cool little gadget. They come in little bags. So
okay. I'm gonna have to definitely look into ordering some because I want to taste it. I see it on my Instagram because I started following it and I'm just like, I gotta order that one. I gotta order that one.
Yeah, you'll have to bring Gabby. She's got a neat story on the show.
I'm trying. I think I've sent her a message, but
she'll get it.
She's busy. She's a busy lady.
Yeah. Turns out running a business is kind of like a busy thing. I don't know.
You know how.
A couple things to do.
So Luke, okay, before we dive into like other little things, because I know we could totally just like talk on tangents and stuff. Let's talk about you. Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, what's going on.
I'm 6'4", tall, skinny. Kind of goofy look. No. So about me, grew up in West Central Illinois, Quincy, Illinois, small town, but good sized population. Was always into sports guy. Soccer, basketball, baseball were my main go-tos. And eventually like dwindled it down to mostly basketball and soccer. So those were my main sports in high school. Often injured, like probably way too much. Like, when you're known as the injury prone kid among your family and your friends, it's not good. And you don't realize it early in life. You're like, oh, I just get injured. That's fine. I bounce back. Later in your life, you're like, yeah, that kind of sucks. This kind of sucks. But, I'd always battle through injuries. My high school soccer coach was a physical therapist. And I think that really kind of was the fire starter for me on like kind of the journey into rehab and recovery and sports medicine. But yeah, I battled through a lot of injuries in soccer and basketball in high school. And then in the college, I played soccer at Western Illinois and, had my fair share of injuries there as well. But always seemed to have a good team around me to help me recover. And I always thought, man, that's really, really cool and unique that someone would, dedicate their time and their energy and their passion to help someone they don't know, not part of their life, recover, like get better, to be able to do the things that they want to do. And in this case, being soccer and sports. And so, as I was trying to toy around and find what I wanted to do in college, I messed around with I did some part-time work at a veterinary clinic, while I was in college, and realized quickly that wasn't for me when I was, helping the vet put down dogs and like, that stuff. I'm a pet lover. I'm like, this is going to be awesome. This is super sad, depressing. Like I just helped like a family cry in front of their dog. So, I didn't want to go that route. And then I was like really on a biology, chemistry track to go into med school. And took the MCATs and was like shadowing doctors and nothing against the doctors I shadow, but it was so boring. It was like, 5-10 minutes with a patient. And, you get to kind of look at some of the cool, like I observed surgeries and stuff like that. And I thought, well, that's kind of cool, but still it wasn't like a ton of like, hey, let me help you through your whole journey, get back to the things that you want to do. And so I realized, like, as I look back on what influenced me and what helped me along the way, it was physical therapy, it was rehab, it was kind of the physical recovery and education. And so I went and applied to PT school and got in there and came up to Chicagoland, and it was awesome. I lived with my sister throughout PT school, and she was big into fitness, and she obviously still is. She owns a gym that I'm out of, but she was doing athletic performance with high school, college athletes. And so I got to see that side of things in addition to the rehab as I'm going through school, and really just fell in love with the performance side of things in addition to recovery. And so, you're trying to navigate in PT school, what setting you want to be in. There's so many options. I don't think athletic training has as many options as PT does. Just you're kind of steered towards one area. Yep. But PTs, you could go in a hospital, you could go in a nursing facility, you could travel. There are a million different routes that you could go. But I knew I wanted to be involved with sports and recovery and rehab in that regard. So took a job out of school with Athletico, which is a sports performance. It's kind of like a chain,
Yeah.
It's one of the well-known therapy places in Chicago and now across the country, but really did start me off well with kind of helping that population. And eventually moved on from them, learned a lot along the way, and joined my wife, who's a PT. I met her at PT school. Probably more importantly, I should mention, I met her instead of graduating. So she was with a hospital chain, and I liked the way they had provided care. I liked the way Athletico did things. It's just too much volume. I wasn't necessarily giving the care that I thought each patient deserved along the continuum. Like,
right.
Evaluate them. I give them a plan, and then it's the next patient. Like, it's like, it was sort of just like churning. I didn't feel like I was giving long-term care to anyone. So then at Edward, it's kind of the opposite end of the spectrum. I would have one-on-one care for an hour or 45 minutes. And like, that was awesome. I really felt like I had the time to communicate, to give people the education they need, but also give them the treatment and exercises that would benefit them. But it never ended up being the population I wanted to treat. And nothing against it, like, you know, but it wasn't the go-getter, the weekend warrior, the person that had goals of lifting, you know, lifting heavy weights, right? Or, you know, it was just kind of the general person that was in a little bit of pain, and they were looking for help. So what did I do? I got into management. Because that makes sense. You know, I thought, you know, for me and my family, that would be a good move. And, you know, it was a safety net. It was a good job. And, but it was not, it was even less fulfilling, right?
Yes, I know exactly what you mean.
The passion and what I had and what I thought I could do and influence. I liked managing people, but it wasn't fulfilling. And you know, you kind of had that same revolution, you know, and it was good pay. It was a great job, great and everything else. But I decided I got to search and I got to find, there's got to be something out there that is like what I'm looking for, that looks and feels like what I thought I was getting into. Right. And I haven't found that yet. I found high volume, not as much patient care, but a good athletic environment. And I found lower volume, but just not the kind of people I wanted to treat. No disrespect to the patients there. So I started searching around because social media gives you that option. It's wonderful, right? It's
the place to go. You could find anything.
Anything you want, right? Just start following this guy, Oh, he's following that guy, and they're talking about this. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is kind of what I'm looking for. And I found a guy by the name of Danny Matei. He's a PT in Atlanta, Georgia. Ended up becoming my business coach and helped me start my cash practice. Him and his partners, Gigi and Jared Moon. So they had done it. They had a proof model in place of, hey, you can see patients for one-on-one for an hour and charge them a cash fee or private fee, but literally tell them, this is what you're going to get. This is what's going to cost you. You're going to get one-on-one care with me. You're going to get a plan that is specific to the problems that you're having. In your instance, like I can't squat heavy weights. Well, you can't do that in a regular clinic. You can't simulate that.
Correct.
And you can't talk about what you're eating, what your sleep looks like, the other aspects that might influence pain because you don't have the time or you had multiple patients or just wasn't the right setting. So then I was like, wow, this is awesome. Let me learn more. And so I started reaching out, hired him as a business coach, and jumped ship like cold turkey and just started to start my own thing, right? Went from making a good amount of money to making nothing. And, but it was awesome because I partnered with my sister in her CrossFit gym, and I had already been kind of treating people on the side. They would ask me questions like, hey, my shoulder hurts when I do push-ups, or what should I do about it? Well, I just gave them free advice. You know, it's like, well, I never really provided a solution until like maybe a year before I jumped ship and was kind of seeing people on the side. So kind of started my own thing, beautiful facility where I have access to turf. You know, we have access to all these rigs and heavy equipment, and it's been great, right? It's really, really been rewarding, and I can be creative and generate plans and talk to people about the things they want to talk about without having to worry about, is insurance going to reimburse me? You know, or am I even going to get paid for this down the road? Because insurance might say that I didn't write a goal.
You didn't write it the right way.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, I didn't state that it was a functional deficit. Like, they don't care if you can't lift weights or hike a mountain or, you know, press something over your head, or even really a lot of times like get back to sport for youth athletes. Like if you write that wrong in your notes, they might deny payment. And it's really ridiculous. So I didn't want that influence of care to affect the way I treated my people. So I thought, let's try it. Let's try it for a year or 6 months and see if this model of private pay kind of concierge care would work in this area. And it has. It really, I think people really, really are looking for something that goes above and beyond what they experience in the traditional healthcare model. And hopefully, you know, I'm starting to provide that for them.
What I think, you know, when I came there to try it out.
Yeah, no, yeah, that was it.
Try it out.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And it was really like, you were the second physical therapist that I went to. So,
Really
you know,
common.
my first therapist was in one of those, you know, commercial groups.
Corporate, commercial.
Yeah. Yeah. And she was great. That therapist was great, you know, but after she said to me, and you've heard this statement, you know, I said this to you.
I already know it's coming, but yeah.
When she told me that whenever she would see my name on the schedule, she knew she was going to have to work. That was like,
heaven forbid,
you got to work on somebody who has a little bit denser muscle tissue, who's someone who, you make me do a lunge with nothing. And I'm just like, what's that going to help me? Things like that. And I just, when I came to you, I was a little leery. I was like, okay, what kind of service is this, but,
yeah.
And I didn't tell you when I was an athletic trainer at first.
No, you didn't. Yep. No.
Because I wanted to see how you talk to me. I wanted to see how you explain. And it, finally, I was just like, you know what? This is the guy. This is the guy that's going to help me fix my groin, make me feel better and everything. And, I told you how, like, it was okay, I'm going to try you. And then I'm going to see if because I didn't get any images or anything like that. So it was more like, I really appreciated the conversation. It's because it's that conversation was not even close to the conversation with the other therapist.
Right. Yeah.
And I really appreciated that because, for someone who works in sports, who has worked in sports medicine, it's like in the back of our minds, we already kind of, we have our check boxes and stuff, but imagine someone who doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
And then they're like, well, I don't know what that means. I have no idea. And you put it in such a way that it was understandable and you weren't talking over my head or, and I'm just like, okay, cool. All right. So by the way, like, I'm an athletic trainer. I've been athletic.
Like, really? I know I get it, but like, sometimes I do that, if I'm going to the doctors, it's great, right? Like, that's just, we want to vet the person, right? And I think, unfortunately, the way that healthcare has gone, and there's just a lack of trust within the medical community from, I think, the general population on, like, am I getting the right care, right? I'm being shuffled around to specialist. They're telling me this, they're telling me that, they're telling me I can't do this, I shouldn't do that. But there's never like a conversation of, okay, well, where do you want to be? What do we need to do to get there? And then how can I give you the tools to make that happen? And if that doesn't work, I have a network of people that I trust and built to send you to, and I don't think, unfortunately, there's too much of let's treat the problem versus let's talk about the whole person, right?
Yes.
You're not just a diagnosis. And when people have access to people's charts, they see all these things and they see all these images, and there's already a preconception in their head about what this person can and can't do, or what they should and shouldn't be doing. So, as, when I was in the hospital, I found myself doing that, like chart review. Oh, this person's got osteoarthritis, had a hip replacement, blah, blah, blah. They're going to come in limping, barely able to walk. Like, how are they even living? What the? And they're like, yeah, I want to try to go skiing in a month. I'm like, that's badass. Like,
yes.
Really anti-fragile beings. Like, we can do a lot of shit, but unfortunately we're conditioned to say we shouldn't do this, we shouldn't do this, we shouldn't do this.
I know. I hate when other people put their limits on me. Drives me up the wall. I'm just like, how do you know I can't do this? How do you know? I mean, maybe I haven't done it before, but I don't know if I can do it. So why are you limiting me already?
Absolutely. And there's also like this stigma around pain. And we had the pain discussion of like, hey, you know what? We're all going to be in pain. Like, is pain really that bad? I mean, there's different types of pain that are bad. There's the threatening type. There's the type that are maybe lead to additional issues within your system that you don't want, right? But then there's like input from doing things that's not necessarily threatening. Sometimes your brain perceives it as threatening because someone told you that your uncle had a knee replacement at 40 and you said you should never go skiing on moguls. But like, you know, there's certain inputs that the system doesn't actually download correctly. And my goal with a lot of my patients is to have them understand that pain is an output coming from the brain. The input is what you do to stress your system. And you got to make sure that your brain is processing things correctly. And if you're having some discomfort in a squat, why? You know, is it really a tissue issue? Or is a central nervous system misprogramming what's going on? Like, or do we just need to like start to resensitize the system to stuff that you couldn't do because you had an acute injury, right? Mm-hmm. That's the case. So that's what I really, that's a big education component, as you know, something that I think differentiates the practice here and its ability to have, I mean, I have the time to do it.
Yeah. And I really enjoy, like, okay, so you know, when we met, like I told you about my knee injury from like a decade ago, you know, and I think the best statement that you said to me that I took away from you guys, you're like, this is years of misuse in your left side. I was like, oh my God, I would have never thought about it that way. Yeah. You know, and I just thought that was a really great educational tool for me because shoot, how long has my left leg been this weak? Yeah. You know, and now it's like, now it's creeping up. Like it's, oh my gosh, I'm in my 40s. I had the surgery when I was 20, maybe 19, right. 20. And, you know, back in the day, you know, Laarni being the stubborn person that she is, you know, I'm like, my knee's fine. I don't need therapy. And so like, it was like leg raises and scooters. I remember sitting on one of those little playground scooters, like scooting up and down, you know, the physical therapy clinic. And I'm like, okay, this is it. And your like story of like how you went through your sports and like trying to figure out what you wanted to do. It took me forever to get to athletic training.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we talked about that. Like, you know, it wasn't your first career.
Was not my first career, but I've always, you know, wanted to be in athletics, and I couldn't, you know, my family, my culture didn't allow us girls to work to be in athletics. And then as I grew older, I took that dive into athletics and I tried like everything. And so now when I meet other people who are going through like rehab and stuff, and like we talk about it, I'm just like, I think about the statements that you told me. You know, it's like you educated me and I like pass on the education. And if I don't know it, I'm like, I know somebody who does. Yeah, no. I know somebody who can help you, you know. So I just like, first of all, I wanted to thank you for the service that you provided for me. You know, I thought they were amazing, and you know, I would highly recommend you to anybody in the area.
Nothing's better than, you know, that kind of feedback, to be honest. I thank you. I mean, I thank you for trusting in me because, right, like you're putting a lot of faith into me, you know, and and a lot of, you know, it's an investment, right? You know, it's not covered by insurance. It's a different, you got to trust. There's a lot of trust involved.
Can I just talk about our dry needling experience?
Oh yeah. Wait, maybe no.
So you're like, I remember like our first or second session, you're like, so how do you feel about dry needling? I'm like, oh, I don't know. And you know, and you're like, how do you feel about needles? I was like, oh, well, I don't know.
0 for 2.
And you're like, let's just try one. Let's try
do
one.
one. Gonna do one.
And I just remember how like I was starting to sweat just thinking about it.
Sweat reaction is so common. I'm like, why am I in a pool of my own sweat and like nothing has happened?
You're like, let's just try one or two. Let's see, you know. And then I was like, you're like, you're ready? And I'm like, okay. And it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. I mean, I grit my teeth a little bit? Yes. So I, you know, but it wasn't like I wasn't jumping.
To be honest, too, the groin/adductor area, not the most comfortable place.
Not the most comfortable place to have a needle stuck into it, but it was fine.
Good.
Like I really did enjoy it. You know, when you're like, some people like call me and go, I need that needling thing or whatever. I actually was gonna like call you and be like, I'm like, I need it, you know.
It has its place for sure. Like it is a tool in the toolbox.
Yeah.
I kind of, you know, it has definitely been effective add to my practice and my toolbox because, you know, you're working with people who are, you know, they're repping out, they're taking their muscle to total exhaustion. Right? So there's lactic acid, there's a byproduct that happens on a physiological level in the tissue that, you know, sometimes you need some assistance, you know, with internal release. So, but when people only rely on that, I'm like, it's like cracking your back, right? Like if you're only relying on relief, getting your back cracked, something's off, right? Like your system is just saying that's the only thing that's going to give me relief. The same areas that are stimulated by drug use, stuff like that in the brain. So it's a good business model, I guess, if you want, but you know, ultimately you're going to have to find a way to take care of yourself a little bit as well. So, you know, I do really try, as you know, like try to give you tools for home. And you know, that's a big part of it. But
which is kind of cool because I like, you know, when I am doing like our last session, you know, I was totally sad it was our last session. And then I was like, you're like, keep doing these like single leg, you know, focus on that and stuff. And it's improved.
Yeah.
It's not the best. It's not where I want it, but you know, like I've trusted you so much that I'm just like, okay, I'm going to keep doing it. And I've had a slight improvement in my strength. I was like, yeah.
You're crushing your lifts right now. It's awesome. Yeah.
Well, that meet is coming up soon. So I was actually telling Ben Tipton, who is my, you know, my powerlifting coach. I was like, no, maybe I should go see Luke before the meet. He's like, for what? I go, I don't know. Some kind of massage or some cupping. I don't know. Something like that.
Do something. Painful. Feel good.
I'm like something. I don't know what, but you know. But so I'm so glad that you share that. That's really cool. And I love how you tried like all these different like kind of like business models so you can see what it's like.
Yeah.
You know, for someone who's a new entrepreneur myself, I'm just like, okay, well, maybe I'll try this. Maybe I'll try this. And you know, and it's like I get to a point, like I didn't know I was gonna have the show.
I know I was gonna have a podcast either, right? Like it just, those doors open and if they work out, they work out. But it's so freeing to have the ability to just kind of decide if that's what you want to do or not. And connection wise, like there's people that, you know, as you know, on the podcasts, there's people I've been able to connect with in and outside my field that I never thought I would be able to, you know, talk or interview. So, you know, and that's just really putting myself out there that I, you know, I would have never done that. I would have never done that. So
tell us about the podcast.
Oh yeah. So my podcast, as you know, because you've been a guest and it was like an awesome episode, the IronStrongPodcast, I have a co-host, Guy, Coach Guy, and you know, we talk about optimizing your health through like our 4 pillars are performance, nutrition, mindset, and recovery. And we just try to bring on, you know, industry professionals in all those areas, people that really are pushing the limits in those areas, and we bring them on the show and we just talk. We have a nice conversation about their journey, what they're striving to achieve, who they're helping, and what they're trying to do. And we just have had so much positive feedback. I had a member of the gym say she drove from like, I think she drove from Colorado or something, but she binge listened to all our podcasts. She's like, I just couldn't stop listening. It's just such great material on so many different topics. And it's just fun to talk to people like, like Dr. Kelly Surratt.
Yes.
I talked to, we talked to Cody Burkhardt, who's the human performance guy for the International Space Station, like NASA, like just weird connections you get. Yeah. And he's just, they're on different levels. And it's just really good conversation. And I think helps me learn. Like one of the big, like I get to learn a lot of things just talking to people. And that's really cool. We get to meet people like you, and it's I never thought I would be a podcaster, right? Like someone who would talk and have people watch, but glad I did. I'm really glad I did. And,
it's a cool podcast. I first of all, I love the name. I don't know why I love that name. I think it's because it has iron and strong on it.
Like strong, yeah.
Yes, the word. I was talking to a guest yesterday, and I was telling her how I was playing around on Facebook, and there was this thing like, hey, screenshot, just hit your screenshot, and whatever message it lands on is what you're, it's like, think about that message for the week or something like that.
Oh, yeah,
I thought that was really cool. So cool. I did it, and look at that. The one little screenshot that I had the word strong in it. It's like, it follows me. Like it really does, like strong, like the word strong, power, like those kinds of words follow me. And I was just like, who would have thought?
I mean, it definitely, I think, resonates with a lot of people, right? We, as humans, we want to be strong. I think for the most part, like whether it's physically or mentally or, with our family or whatever, we do that. And so I think that the word strong just, I think really resonates with a lot of people that are, looking to get better and improve. And, those 4 pillars, I think, are just huge parts of being strong, and
yes.
So it's been really great. It's been really great.
So Luke, as I'm winding down the show here, I called this part of the show like your toot section. I don't know if I emailed and told you this, but like I call it my toot
horn or something like that.
Yeah, I call it my toot section because it gives people an opportunity to let the audience know like what's coming up. Like, is there something you're going to be speaking at? Is there anything that how do people get a hold of you? Like, what is coming down the pipeline for you?
Well, I would say, one, you can follow, there's a couple ways you can follow me, at RecoverRx PT is my Instagram handle and on Facebook. So the word RecoverRx PT. And then if you want to follow the podcast, it's IronStrongPodcast, at the IronStrongPodcast. Those are the two main ways to follow me throughout social media. I am currently about to finish signing a new lease for a standalone clinic, which is really exciting. So
that's cool.
I'm leaving the gym, but we're going to just kind of be branching out a little bit. So that's really exciting. So look for some updates on that. And as far as like any exciting stuff coming up for me as far as presenting, what we do a lot like at RecoverRx is we run workshops for different gyms. So we partner with a lot of the businesses in the local community that really inspire and try to push their members for fitness. And we just want to help those gyms keep their members healthy and in the gym and not wanting to leave because they've had an injury or they don't know what they should do because they're having pain. So we're always running different workshops at different gyms. So usually I post those online and they're open to the general public. So a lot of those workshops, if you're interested in, they're usually like bulletproof your shoulders or, like the resilient runner workshop for my runners or like, fix your squat position workshop. A lot of education, but within them we give, a lot of tangible things that you can take home to do and utilize to improve yourself with whatever we're working on in that workshop. So yeah, those are great things. I'm looking here in the near future to put out a 14-day mobility challenge. So
Ooh.
at RecoverRx PT, you'll get a little 14-day mobility challenge, and that runs on like our YouTube videos. So there's a 14-day challenge. It's kind of fun. The last one we ran was fix your shoulder mobility challenge. So it was fun.
Nice.
Basically, give you a 5 to 10 minute video each day that you just follow along with. And so that was a good. We had like 50 people participate and gave away a couple things at the end of it. So,
that's really cool. That's really cool.
Follow us, and you can get more info on that.
So if anybody is in the area, the Downers Grove area, and want your services, what is the best way to schedule with you?
Yeah, best way to schedule, probably there's a couple ways. You can go to the website, www.recoverxpt.com. You can schedule directly from the website, or you can just give us a call at the phone number there, 331-253-2426. Or just shoot us an email, text us, right? You can, all the ways to get a hold of us come right from the website. And that's probably the best way to get scheduled. But yeah, we offer free, if you're in the area, we offer free injury screens that are like 15 minutes long. Like if you're really just not sure what direction you need to go, check people out for free for anyone. So it's a great offering, great service. So.
And what is the gym that you're at?
We are at Iron Flag Fitness in Westmont. It's such an amazing gym. We do CrossFit, we do athletic performance, we do nutrition, coaching. I shouldn't say we, they do.
They do.
I'm a separate business, but I help with the recovery side of things. Yeah, it's a great place. My sister and her husband own it, and we've been in the area for 8 years now, just kind of helping people stay healthy, stay strong, do the things they want to do, and push themselves forward, right? Just push the limits, and it's a great place to be.
So I want to end with how I feel like, okay, if you, the story between how Luke and I, we have met in the past, in our past life somehow. So just to give you guys a little bit of a history of how we crossed paths. In the world. So I used to live in the area where Iron Flag used to be, or Iron Fitness.
It used to be CrossFit Iron Flag. Yeah.
So when I was like thinking I was going to become a CrossFitter, I used to go to CrossFit Iron Flag and think that I'm going to be a CrossFitter. And this was years and years and years ago. And when I got the car, when my powerlifting coach said, "Hey, go talk to this guy," when I called Dr. Luke, and I was just like, he was like telling me his clinic is out of a CrossFit place, and I was like, what CrossFit place is it? And then when he told me what it was, I was like,
I've been there.
I think we have met somehow. And the rest is history.
Now we really know each other. It's such a small world. It really in the fitness and kind of the niche, that community of powerlifters and strongmen and CrossFitters. It is, you're always kind of searching and trying new things. So it's great to have you trust and reach back out and connect again. So.
Well, thank you so much for being on my show, Dr. Luke. I really appreciate you. I know you have a totally busy schedule, and I have a feeling like somebody's sitting outside your doors.
No, actually, I just have to get home for dad duties.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, let's I want to say thank you so much for being on the show. It was really awesome. I am so glad that you had some time to talk with me today. And there's just so much. I'll make sure to put all your contact information in the YouTube description. You know, just everyone just scroll. Right after you hit like and subscribe, just make sure you scroll. And if you have any questions for Dr. Luke, I'll make sure to put all his contact information on there. So you guys can find him in the Westmont, Downers Grove area-ish here in Illinois. But reach out to him on Instagram. His Instagram, he will answer you on on the IG. If you have questions, he will answer you. So, all right. Well, that's it for this episode, you guys. This is Let's Talk Java. And again, I am your host, the Power Lady, Laarni Mulvey. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day, enjoy your summer wherever the heck you guys are at. So make sure you guys come back, like and subscribe on the YouTube channel, and I will talk to you guys soon. Thank you, Dr. Luke. I hope you have a wonderful day.
You too.